Welcome back to a new video. So this was my training session from Saturday, and I think this will be a longer video because I left some longer clips in, as you'll see at the end, of some bodybuilding stuff I did, or some, I guess, squat accessories, leg accessories that I did. But the goal for the session was to see how snatches would feel without straps, doing doubles with them. So I worked up, I got to 100, I missed the second rep of 100, went up to 105 for a single. And it kind of makes sense, like snatches weren't feeling fantastic because I did a bunch of snatches the previous day. And so I kind of went into the session knowing that like I wasn't going to be hitting any massive lifts or anything. I just wanted to practice a little bit without straps, and I kind of accomplished that goal. I was happy with the 105. I really wanted to go up to 110 after, but I knew it was a smart decision because the focus of the session wasn't to push the snatch. I knew that it would be smarter to stop at that 105. And it starts the positive momentum of me going from 100 to 105 and not just trying to jump the 110 every time. So that was already a positive thing that started this session, even with that 100 on the second rep miss, which honestly, like the rep just felt slow, and you kind of see it will just kind of drift off, and it wasn't necessarily that bad of a technique. It was just a little fatigued and a little slow, which is kind of how I will always be. But after I did the snatch work, I knew I wanted the focus of the session to be heavy cleans, and I did 150 for that double, I think earlier in the week or last week. I forget exactly how long ago that was, but I wanted to try something more, so I knew I wanted to take big jumps to get up to that. It also worked out. There's actually another weightlifter. I don't know if he's going to be consistently at the gym all the time, because we were talking the one day and he said he lives in Chicago, so I think he comes back to visit family or just to be in the area for whatever reason, and will lift at this gym sometimes. So I don't see him every time I go in, but because I went pretty frequently, I think you'll see me like 3 or 4 days. I think I was at the gym this week because it was so hot outside. It was like 95 plus degrees with a heat index above 100. So it was a big reason I wanted to go to the gym on these days. Just because I knew I wouldn't be able to train as well at the house. I'd probably be able to like do one exercise, but then I'd just be too fatigued from the heat, and also just terribly sweaty just from obviously from the heat and the whatever. But I knew I wanted to take big jumps in the clean. He had just came in and was warming up, and I didn't want to hog all the plates, and I knew that like once I did cleans that I wouldn't really need the kilo plates for anything, because I was going to try to do some back squats, and then that was really going to be it as far as weightlifting specific stuff. And that's kind of what happened. So I started with 60 kilos with the clean, then went to 115, which is it's a big jump, but it's not really that heavy of a weight for me. And so I did the 115 for a double, and the reason I went to 115 instead of 110 from 60 is because I knew I wanted to go to 145 and then potentially 155 since I did 150, and that was a really hard double. So I was thinking, I'm like, all right, I can do 145 for a double, and even if I just do a single at 155, I would have been happy with that. And I got to the 155. I was actually able to do a double, and it was, I would say it was still really difficult, because obviously it was a very heavy weight, a very just heavy percentage of both my clean and my front squat. But I was able to do, in my opinion, a better double than I was in the session where I did the 150 for a double. The second clean was a lot better than the second clean of that 150 by a long shot. It was actually, the first clean felt weird. It actually collapsed on my right side a little bit, so you'll see me kind of like twist, or I felt like my right elbow touched my leg a little bit. It's not really that obvious on video when that kind of stuff happens for the most part, but it definitely wasn't as precise on the first rep. But the second rep I was really happy with. I was able to, I think, extend a little bit better, so my elbows were able to punch under a little bit faster. So even though standing up was harder, because obviously I just did a rep prior to that, it was a better technical rep, which is one of the reasons why doubles like that are good, because you have that fatigue. You have to do a better rep. You have to have better technique, otherwise you just miss it. You kind of get away with worse technique when you don't have as much fatigue, especially if you have an energy surplus and or strength surplus. In my case, especially with the pull, I can get away with some bad lifts because I can just pull it so aggressively, and I have so much strength in that regard. But here's the double to 145. The first rep looked pretty good. Let's see how the second rep looked. Yeah, so I kind of had to double bounce around a little bit like that. And once I caught that second rep, I was like, all right, I can do 155 for a single for sure. But I had no idea about the second rep. But I knew like this is going to be it. So I went pretty hard. You see there, it doesn't actually look too bad. It just looks kind of weird how I twisted a little bit on the right side, but there's not really any, I guess it was just unbalanced a little bit when I caught it. There's not any issues with the right side. It's all, you know, left shoulder and whatnot. I guess my right hip historically had a little bit of issue, but no, nothing that was irritating on this day. So I guess, I mean, in a sense, you could call it a cluster because I take a while in between the reps, but I still consider it a double because, you know, I'm still in the mindset of doing the rep. And I don't know, that's where you kind of get in the nitty gritty of like, is it a double? Is it a cluster? I don't really view it as that important of a distinction unless it's like literally 30 seconds or 45 seconds between the reps. If you step away from the bar, check your phone, you know, readjust your sleeves. Like, I kind of view that as like I consider that a double as far as training purposes go. But I know that can be kind of subjective. There you can see the fellow weightlifter over there. And I actually switched the pound plates here for squats just so he would have access to the kilo plates, and I'm just doing back squats. And I kind of knew at this point I wasn't going to be doing a ton of back squats just because of how fatigued I was from the cleans. And I just knew I wanted to work up to something. I tried to do this 183, a really difficult triple. I was pitched forward. My back got a lot of good work from this, and it was not good reps. I was thinking of potentially doing reps or multiple sets of reps at this weight, but once I did this triple, I was like, I'm just getting destroyed by this weight. I am just way too fatigued. So once I did this triple here, you see just how ugly all the reps look. But after I did this triple, I dropped down to do this 102 for a set of 10. And as you'll notice, I did a slow eccentric. These actually felt really good. Not just, obviously the weight was a lot lighter, but on like my quad tendons and stuff. So I think this is something that I might implement in different squatting sessions, potentially with heavier weights, just like a really slow eccentric like this, and still use a stretch reflex as you see at the bottom, but not really as dynamically, and just kind of go back and forth, because I still think having the faster eccentric is going to be obviously better to do a heavier load, and it will probably carry over better to the lifts themselves. But doing these slower ones will be good to almost practice technique. Obviously, you know, the slow eccentric breaks down a bit muscle a bit more, but also just to kind of make sure, I don't know, just practice the bar path. It's not really like practicing the squat technique, but just trying to make sure the bar is, you know, staying in that center position on your leg. But did that set of 10 there. It was really easy. And I actually, I don't know, was having amid some sort of crisis and decided to do some hack squats. So I haven't done this in a while, and these actually felt pretty good. So I started with just one plate on each side, and it wasn't really bothering my quad tendon or anything. So I was just trying to do them really slow, trying to feel them out. I was moving my feet around a little bit. I did it without any weight on it, just to kind of play with the position of my feet. And my heels were coming up, but I was kind of just letting them come up as I was going more, because it was just feeling more natural to kind of let my knees kind of just travel up, let my heels come up, because it was allowing my back to stay in a more neutral position. It wasn't, I guess, rounding. I don't really know how to describe it. It wasn't arching as much when I let my feet come up, which I guess, I don't know really, I didn't really think too much. I was just kind of playing with, you know, how to feel with it. Because it's one of those things that's like, I don't really care how much or how I do the hack squats. I just want it to feel good if I'm going to have a squat accessory like this. And I know with like Tom Platz and stuff, his heels or whatnot would come super high when he was going into the bottom of it. So probably, you know, it's a quad exercise, so it's not something I'm trying to, you know, get 10 plates on each side and competing in. So it doesn't really matter the technique necessarily. But there is kind of like a bottoming out part of it. And I guess just because I'm flexible, I can squat all the way down with it. So I was trying to feel natural with that. You kind of see where it kind of hits the bottom when I'm at the bottom. So I can't really go necessarily to full depth, which is another reason I was kind of not, I was fine with letting my heels come up a little bit, because it was letting me kind of close that joint angle a little bit more. But I did 2 sets of 5 there. And it's one of those things that's like, I don't necessarily plan on doing it multiple times in a week or like as a main accessory or anything like that, but it could just be on a day like this as I start going to the gym more. If I have a session where it's like I want to do some squat volume, and as you saw with the back squats, like I just did a triple, I didn't do a lot of volume. This is a way for me to kind of attack the quads a little bit in a way that's different than just the classic barbell squat, especially if it's not feeling good, just to lower the risk of, you know, messing up my back or like just having a bad session with that, or just in general, just to get more volume into the quads. Here, I did a bunch of reps with the leg extension, which honestly they felt really good. My quads got a massive, not I would say massive pump, they got really sore from doing these, which is always nice when you feel those. They're actually still sore today on Saturday from these exercises. And so I just left this as a running clip, but you see I had to adjust the seat a little bit. I think I remember something from Mike Isochil saying that if you basically lean back more, you're able to activate more of your quad or different parts of your quad, or I don't know, it just made it a better bodybuilding movement. So I try to always have myself back a little bit, but just doing like sets of 10 and whatnot, and just worked up to, I want to say it was like 110. I don't know what the machine is. I assume it's pounds, but I know if you look in the back right corner, the cables that are over there, those are all in kilos. So there is a chance that the weights are loaded in kilos. It doesn't really matter though, because it's just a leg extension, but it is kind of nice when you're doing the cables over there. When Rob, the owner of the gym, mentioned that like it's all in kilos, because I was like, you know, you do like 10 or 20, you're like, yeah, I don't know, I guess my arms are just weak or whatever. And you don't really, for me, I don't really care about necessarily the weight that you're doing for like a tricep extension or a face pull or something. But he's like, yeah, these are in kilos because they're heavier, because they're, you know, massive people. They call themselves the Hogs, and they're just massive power lifters. So it makes sense that they'd want a machine that goes much heavier. So it makes sense that like I would be around, you know, 40, 50 for these different exercises, because that would be similar to what I would do at a different gym with pounds. So that made me feel better when he mentioned that, because I was like, oh, you know, it actually makes more sense too. And it just get tremendously weak over the years. It's just measured in a different way. But really, honestly, I was really happy with this session. Obviously, the clean was kind of the big highlight. Hitting that for, I think that's a PR. That's one of those things that's like I'd have to really kind of like research back to see what I did for a clean double. I don't know if I've done 155 before, or if I have done less or whatever for a double, like if that's a true PR, or if that matches something, or if I've done like 156 or something. But I think it would be really cool to do 160 for a double. I don't know if I'll be able to get up to there, you know, soon. I might have to actually get stronger and not just take jumps to get to that. But I think that would be neat. I think that would definitely be a PR. I know I haven't done that, and just to kind of build that up. And really kind of the big reason I'm doing the clean doubles now, and like trying to go heavier with them, is just to give myself the surplus of the clean. And because jerks aren't feeling fantastic right now, it still allows me to kind of push that lift up. And with it being a double, it means that, at least in my brain, I'm not as likely to go too heavy to get hurt. Because if I do 155, like on the first one, like I'm just going to maybe miss the second one, but it's a lighter weight. I'm not trying to go up to, you know, 170 every time and trying to do a clean there. Just because when you do just heavy max out cleans by themselves, there is a propensity, at least in my case, to get hurt. So I don't really want to. So the clean doubles are nice for that. Obviously, it's a bit more volume. Not really like I was doing a ton. You know, I only did 60, you know, what, 4 doubles if you count all the warm-up sets. So I didn't do a ton of volume, but it still is more than just doing singles with that. So it's a nice challenge too. But that's it for this session. So as you saw, did quite a lot of work on this one. Did a lot of bodybuilding accessory work as well for the quads. And you know, there's not really a goal like I was mentioned with the hack squats. Same with the leg extensions, to do them a bunch of times a week. But just might throw them into a session like this where I didn't get as much squatting in as I would have liked, just to get some extra volume in. Or maybe just on a session where I'm at the gym, because when I'm driving to the gym, you know, I kind of want to get the most bang for my buck if I'm going to be there to utilize the machines and stuff that I don't have at my house. But anywho, that's it for this one. I apologize if I sounded a bit nasally. I have a bit of a cold. Did not mention that until now, so if you saw throughout, I guess maybe you don't, maybe you won't have noticed, but I don't know. That's it for this one. I'll talk to you all in the next one. Have a great day. Peace.